Hey everybody, we're going to take a look at how to convert a color photo to black and white using a feature called Knockout Deep in Channels. Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to this, this channel is dedicated to elevating your creativity in photography and as a photo artist. Now, an issue came up to me with a subscriber where he likes to do, or I should say, he likes to convert color photos to black and white using something called channels. And channels was a very popular technique that we used years ago before we had the new adjustment layer called black and white. So let me just show you this right now in Photoshop. So we're going to use this stock image right here. And if I come down here to the Oreo cookie dipped in milk, you can see this. There's a little pop-up menu. And there's a feature that we've had for quite a while called black and white. And by choosing that, we can actually move some sliders over here. So on the far right side, you'll see in this panel, as I slide this, anything that has a red tone in it, I'm making darker versus pulling that up to a higher, or I should say brighter right there. But anyhow, this is a real popular tool for converting color photos to black and white, and certainly not the only method. There's many methods that we can use, but I'm going to throw this in the garbage can down here and get rid of that. And some people like to work with in channels, which I do once in a while myself. So this was the issue that this person had. And if you're not familiar with channels, I'm going to go over here to the channel property panel on the far right. And this image is broken up into red, greens, and blues. Of course, they're shown in tonal ranges and not in color. And this is what makes up our color photo, all three of those together. But this is the red tonal range or luminosity of the reds. This is the greens, and this is the blues. So if I go to the little pop-up menu here and I choose Channel Mixer, this is an adjustment layer. And over here on the far right, you could see that there are the three channels, red, green, and blue, like we just looked at before. In the drop-down menu up here, excuse me, there's a feature there called Red Filter. If I choose that, notice that this changed to the red channel over here, but it did it in the channel mixer. Notice over here it says 100 and 00, and that equals 100 down here. If I move this slider to the right a little bit, whoops, let me do that again. Sorry about that. Notice that it says a plus 135 right here, but I get a little warning, and the warning is basically saying I'm blowing out everything here. You got to keep it within the 100 amount. So if I did this, if I went to the green channel and did a minus 35, that will give me the 100 right here, and everything would be fine with that. So it allows you to do some customization in there, but let me go back to the drop-down menu again and choose the red filter. And here's the issue that I'm just going to mention. Tom's first name is Tom. I'll just keep the last name private. But he said, I think there's a way I can use multiple adjustment layers in channels, but it doesn't seem to work. And I know it's possible. What am I doing wrong? So basically, it's like, okay, this one is set to red. And if I add another adjustment, so we'll go back to, again, Channel Mixer. And I'm going to go to the drop-down menu. And this time I'm going to choose something that's in the green filter. So you'll see now it's 100% for green, and the other ones are 0 and 0. But notice that if I turn this on and off, nothing has changed. And the reason nothing has changed, because this layer here is looking at color information below. And there is no color. It's already in black and white. And there's absolutely nothing to change right there. That's why you don't see any difference. So what you do is you could do a right mouse click, or, which I prefer doing a right mouse click, and choose up something called blending options, but you can actually double click in the gray area, not on the name, but over here on the side. If I double click real fast, that'll open up what is called the blending option dialog box. And in here, there's a feature called Knock Out. And what you have to choose in the drop-down menu is something called Knock Out Deep. And what that does, and I'll click on OK there, you can see now that that has changed. Because now what it's doing is it's ignoring the layer below, and it's using this layer at the very bottom. So it's called Knock Out Deep. It's grabbing the information from our background layer right here. Now, here's what's important to note. You have to have a background layer. If you don't, by the way, if I just get rid of the lock, which just turns it into a normal layer, watch what happens. See, it just goes blank because it just goes past that layer because it doesn't see the background layer and it can't do nothing. So I'm going to undo that so it goes back to a background layer. And now I can get some unique adjustments. An example would be this. If I like the skin tone this way with the red channel, but I like the lips the way they are in the green channel, what I could do over here is invert, which is just Control-I in the mask. That would be Command-I on a Mac. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm just going to grab my paintbrush. So B for brush. So make that a little bit smaller. Make sure I'm painting at, we'll just go for it 100%. That a little bit bigger. What's smaller? There we go. Let's make that 100%. And again, I'm not going to do this real accurate, but it's just to show you that if I paint back in white, because we're on a black mask, I'm painting in the information that comes from that green channel. So I can turn this on and off. And again, as an example, maybe I like the lips to be a little bit darker, maybe not that dark. So over here, I'll just pull the opacity down and let's turn it on and off. So there we go. So this is the red information from the red channel, but that is the green channel information right there. So that's just a minor tweak. And I could keep building on this. I can add another channel mixer layer on there, do Knock Out Deep and do some other adjustments, paint it in with masking. It gives me a lot of control. And then what I tend to do a lot when I'm even working in black and white, and I do this also with color images, a lot of people have seen me do this many times, and that is if I do a visible stamp layer, so Shift Control Alt E on the keyboard gives me a visible stamp layer at the very top. That would be Shift Command Option E on a Mac. And now that I have that there, because again, I do need that there, I'm going to go to a blending mode and maybe pull something like overlay or multiply. I'm going to go with multiply in this. I'll add a mask to this. And then maybe I'll pull the opacity down a little bit based on my liking. And I'll grab my paintbrush, so B for brush. Let's make this brush a little bit bigger. And I'm going to paint with black. So I want to make sure my paintbrush is set to black. And I'm going to drop the opacity down to maybe about 30%. And then I'm just going to paint over this area like this. And just, we'll bring in a little bit of lightness over here. In fact, I might pull the opacity up so it's really strong for me. And then we'll just readjust that. And allow me to go in, and I feel like I'm painting with light over here to get the look that I want. And again, if you could see it before and after, I'll turn the mask off. So there's my before and after. And if I want to feather this, I'll go into the properties panel and move that over, and we'll feather that a bit. So, and again, just make sure I got what I wanted on the face. And you can see the before, after, a little bit more dramatic type look or feel, even in black and white. And again, I do this in color. Again, hopefully you picked up something on this little demo, but to help Tom out, what was happening is you got to make sure that you're using that Knock Out Deep when you're doing this in these adjustment layers. It also works for the black and white adjustment layer. If you do that twice, in fact, you know what? Let's do that real fast. Let me get rid of this, all this information. And oops, we'll just select all that, get rid of that. And I'm going to come down here to add the black and white adjustment layer. And you'll notice that when I move the sliders, and again, I'm just going to pretend, I want it darker or something like that, or brighter. Let's make it darker. And then I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to choose, again, the black and white. And then I come over here and I move that red slider again, or the green or the blue. Nothing is happening. The reason is, again, it's looking at this layer, is looking at the layer below it, and it doesn't see any color information. Therefore, there's nothing to move around or adjust when you're moving these sliders, because it's looking for the color red and yellow and things in the green area. So again, I would have to right mouse click here and pull up the, or should say, go to the drop down menu and choose deep, knockout deep. Now you see it change there. So now as I'm doing this, I can make some fine tunes and adjustment based on what I need, maybe masking what I would like to do right there. So again, it's not limited just to the channel mixer adjustment layer. We can also use it with the black and white one too. Okay, so hopefully that helps out, Tom. And again, if you could help me out, and you know the routine, and that is, if you like this, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell. That way, the next time I upload a video, you will get notified. Also, if you have any questions, and I'm getting a lot of questions, I'm getting a bit of a backlog, but I'll put my email in the notes right here, or in the video, I should say. And please feel free to email me at stevenphotoartist@gmail.com. So with that out of the way, always remember, get that camera out, start practicing, making those mistakes, and literally keep thinking out of the box. Until next time, see ya.